I am Suzanne Kelly, and I am the Healthy Communities Coordinator at the Vermont Department of Health. We are working to help create communities where people have access to be physically active and to eat healthy foods. There's a range of ways that we do that, from grants to communities to collaborating with regional planning commissions and the Department of Transportation. So there's bottom-up and there's top-down initiatives going on. It's definitely about starting to build capacity within communities so they can really do this work. There's 4 areas that we're funding communities to be mobilizing around: increasing bicycle and pedestrian access, increased mixed-use development, improving parks, recreation, and open space, and increasing access to healthy food.
What the Healthy Community Design movement is about is recognizing that we made very purposeful choices about how we grew our communities, mainly, through the 60s, 70s, 80s, where we were focused on accommodating cars and commerce instead of people. And so it's saying, well, let's look at what we knew in the past worked. What about our vibrant town centers, and how do we think about that as we continue to change and grow over time? Because so much of what the Healthy Community Design concept is about is how do you look at your infrastructure and your policies. So if you have your policies in place, when we are doing new construction, when we are having new development, when we're setting up our schools or our communities, we're going to say that one of their values or goals is that this be a walkable community, that this be a bikeable community.
Our goal is to see these sustainable changes. Some of it is boring stuff, for sure. I mean, it seems like a town plan now has language to support health and wellness. But the effect of that is that with all new development, they have to consider the impact of health in anything they do. So it sounds kind of boring, like, oh, a town just changed their town plan, but the result of that is really important. There are a lot of communities that are getting that health language into their town plans now, which I think is really a starting point. The next piece is for coalitions and community members to know that language is there and to make sure the town follows through.
Our towns actually, in large part, have fabulous planning and policy tools available to them because of our local land use and state land use policies. When we're passing our road and bridges and state transportation or our local transportation budgets, which they have to do yearly, is someone saying, so what percent of that is going to go into bicycle paths? What percent of that is going to go into sidewalks? Where's that long-range plan for our pedestrian infrastructure? We make decisions every year about where we're going to put our money. I think that we have the tools. It's just using them. It's part of our roads funds. It's part of our community taxes. It's part of our school funding. It's already embedded there. It's just making it a priority and a way of thinking.
It's really about, what do we want our community to look like? What's important? There's a lot of advocates for this kind of work who talk about physical activity and healthy eating being engineered out of our lives. And so now we're working toward re-engineering it back into our lives.
One of the keys to building a better community is putting people first. In any community, cars and other forms of transportation are always going to play a role. But if you want a community to come alive, you have to make cars secondary and put people first.
The key thing is, I think you can have healthy community design without saying you can't develop. So I don't think the question is, should we or shouldn't we develop? Because the reality is we probably will. What I hope people will do is say, if we are going to develop, how are we going to do it in a way that promotes our community values? So it's not should you, it's how should you, or how can you?
Active transportation needs to become kind of the way of doing things. Baby steps. So, you kind of have to create that shift in incremental ways. But yeah, I think you get a lot of excitement when you get people out on that trail and everyone walking to school, and it really energizes people. And then, you create your school travel plan and you make it the easier choice.
At the end of the day, if you can bring it back to something as simple as, we want our community to be a healthy place to raise kids, you're going to find that no one disagrees with that.